Peace, 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 peace. Welcome back to the Universal Temple for the sun, planets, moon, and stars. I'll be your Lord of Hosts, Lord Messiah.
Chapter 1. Allah is not a spirit. Allah is the black man of Asia. When he comes not as a spirit, but as a man of Asia. Allah is eternal, having neither beginning nor end. Man was not always here as man, but man was always here. In the beginning, there was no beginning.
Something was always here, even though it be a speck of dust. It existed and therefore was existence. Existence is life. Existence is eternal. Therefore, something always existed but never as a spirit.
That became the universe, because it was the universe, and the universe is all which exists. As it has no beginning, neither shall it end. For something always will exist. This is the law of nature. That beginning which never began became the sun, for it was the sun, and the sun gave birth to the planets, and the planet gave birth to moons. And the far-off suns became the stars, because the sun is nothing but a star. And the planets are heavenly bodies. We are the sun, moon, and the star, the nation of Islam. Yet these bodies attract one another, but yet keep them distant in their functions. And all turn towards the east, and each submits fully to the plan. And Allah wrote the first law of the universe, and it was law and order. Thus all the heavenly bodies were commanded, and they obeyed, and were rewarded, and the reward full. Absolute submission is perfection and eternal life. Behold, the planets suffer the death, and those who are falling stars. But you who have wisdom, read deeply between these lines, and you shall see that man is but a planet. Indeed, it is from this that such imperfect minds can conceive that God is a body of the heavens, but misunderstanding of the truth leads man to breed mythology. No bodies are created to have such individuality that puny man seeks to worship all planets turn do the bidding of the Master. Thus they find their places in eternity, and none. Bear witness that the falling star believes to be wiser than God, thus he leaves his place in the planet, and thus he leaves the universe. But who can leave existence and yet still exist? And who can turn from God and yet be a God? And what is there beyond but death? So free yourself of selfishness, and seek not to be one alone, but seek the self in which we dwell, and self which dwells with it. Seek the one and thus be one with him and make the plan. Chapter 2. Bear witness that Allah gave birth to all. Allah was all, therefore life itself. And the universe gave birth to man. The universe was man. Man was the universe, and the universe was all which existed, and existence is life, and life is Allah. And Allah had no beginning because he is what always was, and this is the realm of truth. The planet Earth was covered by waters, and water is life, and life is Allah. Man came from that which always was, which was Allah, which is man. And man was sent to that part of the planet where the first land had raised above the waters of the sea.
Peace, peace, peace. Welcome back to the Universal Temple for the sun, planets, moon, and stars. I'll be your Lord of Hosts, Lord Messiah. And today we're going into, let's get it, The Great Understanding by Rasheed Allah.
Chapter 2. Bear witness that Allah gave birth to all, for Allah was all, and therefore life itself. And the universe gave birth to man. The universe was man. Man was the universe, and the universe was all which existed, and existence is life. And life was Allah, and Allah had no beginning because he is what always was, and this is the realm of truth. Man appeared unto that from whence he came from the universe, and the universe was black. He came from the sea, and the depths of the sea were black. And man was not always here as man, but yet man was always here. The planet Earth was covered by waters, and water is life, and life is Allah. Man came from that which always was, which was Allah, which is man, and man was sent to that part of the planet, where the first land had raised above the waters of the sea. The sea had given birth to the land, and the depths of the land were as black as the depths of the sea from whence it came. And the surface of the land was as green as the surface of the sea from whence it came. And this was paradise. Thus it was called Arabia, which means paradise. And the sea, and the life in the sea taught man the language of paradise, which is spoken from the depths of the body, and was yet soft as the shore which whispers to the shore. time knew not imperfection, knew not error, for man knew neither his origin nor his end. God is eternal, and so bear witness that the original man himself is God in his entirety. The original cannot trace himself to his origin, and he who seeks to find what was never there is a fool. God accepts himself as God. What fool would seek beyond God? There was no first life, from whom whence could come a life but from life itself. Those who have wisdom, behold that neither man nor the universe had a beginning. Behold the two laws of existence. 1. That which I is, always was. 2. That which always was not, cannot be. And so, that which never was, cannot be Allah the black man, can never have a beginning nor an end. For Man is the universe, which is all which exists, which is 360 degrees, which is perfect, which is Allah. And so, in the realm of absolute truth, there is no knowledge of the beginning. Truth has no origin, and everything is absolutely real, and all which is not. You have been shown that man is the universe and existence itself. Therefore, it is but the absolute truth that man is God equals Allah. Peace. Peace. Welcome back to the Universal Temple. Before, the original man was truly perfect. He possessed no knowledge of evil. He had wisdom which encircled 360 degrees of the universe. He had the wisdom of Allah, for surely he was Allah. He had law but the law of Allah, and he desired not to do evil. He ate which was living, and therefore knew nothing but life. The fruit of the land and seas entered him alive. These did not die when devoured, but became a part of man, and lived on, as life itself. The fruits and vegetation became abundant and covered the planet with their beauty and fragrance. Allah created the gentle beast of the field to assist man in trimming the vegetation and eating excess fruit. And yet though these gentle beasts kept the fields from overflowing with abundance, they fertilized the earth with their droppings, feeding the very rocks of the plants whose fruit they devoured. And thus did Allah have no ills or formalities. All was peace and beauty upon the planet. All was truth, and Arabia flourished, and man was made glorious by the radiance of his wisdom. And Allah looked upon all he had made, and he was well pleased.
Then man became dissatisfied. He questioned the laws of nature, for he was not evil where there was no evil. He was inquisitive and curious, and curiosity rebelled, and he thought he was greater than existence, and challenged the laws of annihilation, and became Yaqub. Those who have wisdom behold this revelation. Yaqub was not man, but man himself. Yaqub was a scientist and used the knowledge to seek what was beyond knowledge. There is nothing beyond knowledge but illusion. Illusion leads to death. Illusion is not real, but error. Yaqub was in error and thought that there was that which can be found beyond the universe. Yaqub progressed beyond the universe, which is 360 degrees of perfection, and gained 6 degrees. Thus he came upon the realm of error, which is 366 degrees. 366 degrees is non-existent. Indeed, 360 degrees is nothing. 366 is nothing. And Allah beheld with sorrow that man became Yaqub. That which had a beginning must have an end, for such law of existence as applied to imperfection. Imperfection has no bearing on the truth. The truth is that which is man. And the number of truth is 7. Indeed, which is not real, cannot exist. Reality in reality, neither can error. And the number of error is 6. and it is not real, for it began, and beginning, and that which began has an end. And imperfection is the cause of the beginning and end, and death is the effect. Behold, Allah's perfection. Allah does not give birth to imperfection, for a perfect have no consciousness of imperfection. Allah is not absent of imperfection, for Allah is self-sufficient, but imperfection is absent of Allah. If evil is mixed with good, it does not yield the mixture of both good and evil. The good becomes corrupted. Good and evil cannot occupy the same existence. Evil can be made good, but good injected is absorbed, erased, and poured water into a desert. But being illusion, reality, God cannot be distinguished or pure evil. Can distinguish the pure good, but a righteous man cannot picture evil, because in the realm of truth, evil is non-existent. Be forever mindful of the law of annihilation. Truth has consciousness of error, has no consciousness of error. Love has no sense of hatred. Life has no partnership with death. Truth, love, life, these are the laws of annihilation, for they are declare nothing but Allah. Insomuch Allah is good, Allah does not create any moral or physical deformity. They are harmony. Truth destroys. Sickness, sin, and death are not the faults of life, but is the illusion, the migrant of error. Truth is not relative, but absolute. Thus, neither is Allah relative, for Allah's existence and His truth. Without Allah, there is nothing. Allah is therefore real, for He is everything which is real. There is only one truth, there is only one God, Allah. And neither truth nor God can be made the subject of opinion. Opinion exists only in the doubtful mind. The doubtful mind is the mind of imperfection, and therefore opinion is the product of error. Error has no beginning in truth, and is relevant in the universe. Opinion is absolute, and all which is absolute is non-existent, which is not absolute and non-existent. Before time is made perfect. After time has ceased, he shall again be perfect, but first he must learn to see through illusion. Behold the law of annihilation, for they are truth eternally. Seek existence, seek not the existing. Seek life, not the living. Seek love, not the lovable. Indeed, the secret of life is not to be found in impermanent but perishable phenomena. Seeking knowledge of the absolute truth of nature and the absolute truth of self. Glad that's over. That was going mad fast. I'm sorry y'all couldn't read all of that on time, but y'all could go back and pause it and read it if y'all like to. You know what I'm saying? Alright, what's up next? Chapter 7. Let's get it.
Chapter 7. Again, the balance of nature was threatened, for the fruits and the vegetables died from disease, or were devoured by the overnumerous beast, and the vegetation diminished, and there was not enough for both man and beast. So Jacob grafted from a shed a form of life which possessed the ability to crawl and fly, and this form of life was trained by instinct to seek the pollen from certain plants, and carried it to others, thus fertilizing many plants and carrying seeds from land to land. They caused the flowers to become pregnant and increased the growth of the vegetation to its normal balance, so that fruits and grain would once more become plentiful and satisfy both man and beast. Now this form of life grafted from a living seed learned to make sweet golden syrup, now called honey from the nectar of the flowers, and the animals learned of this syrup and stole it from the bees, killing many of them. And the honeymakers were helpless and could not protect their homes. Chapter 8. The bees rebelled and complained to Jacob, and he experimented further, and grafted into them the power to sting and paralyze their enemies. But by then, man too had learned the sweetness of honey, and broke into the homes of the honeymakers to steal their syrup. But the bees had been given the power to sting, and
and they stung man and blinded some, and killed others in their rage. And man complained to Jacob of his grafted seed, which menaced man and beast. So Jacob set upon experimenting with other seeds to create a form of bee whose sting would not be powerful enough to kill man, but strong enough to repel the beast, which destroyed the honeymakers for their honey. But as usual, this experiment reacted violently, and mutations were hatched from these seeds. Imperfect versions of the honeymakers filled the sky, the land, and the seas. Some crawled, some scurried, some flew, some swam. They were of many strange varieties and species. They were miniature monsters. Unlike other living beings upon the land, these mutations could not give birth to living young, but laid eggs, and they laid eggs by the millions and swarmed over the planet. They did not spread the pollen and vegetation as did the original bee, but they ate the dead animals, rotten plants, and themselves became full of disease, and all they spread was disease and misery, and they were of such types as the mosquito and the fly, the spider and the centipede, the wasp and the termite, and these mutations were called insects. These insects carried these diseases to the beast and man, and creation itself was feverish from sickness and death. And man learned death, and man was the cause of his own death. And Jacob was the father of death. Then Jacob experimented with the beasts of the field that Allah had made. And amongst these beasts were such as the camel and the horse, the deer and the antelope, the lamb and the giraffe. And they were all friendly to man before Jacob made them learn fear and wariness. And from these original beasts, Jacob grafted many types and varieties. And among this graft were rabbits and varieties of rodents, such as the beaver and the rat. But these were of such type that multiply rapidly, and they spread and grew numerous, even threatened to devour all the plants and fruit, leaving none for man. And the overabundance of these animals of voracious appetite threatened to create an unbalance in nature. Jacob, seeing his error and miscalculation, grafted from these rodents a beast of the flesh. And these new beasts were to restore balance in nature by eating and destroying the numerous gentle beasts of the field and the numerous rodents. These animals were carnivorous, for they fed on the flesh of the other animals. Indeed, Jacob grafted the first cannibals, for they preyed on their brothers from whence they came and ate their flesh.
Edomites.
And they were not gentle, as were the beasts from whence they came, and had not hoofs, but claws to tear flesh and hard teeth to crush bones. And these were of such types as the lion and the leopard, the tiger and the panther, the bear and the mongoose. And these types set upon the gentle beasts and killed them by the thousands. The gentle beast, learning of Jacob's treachery and betrayal, fled to the far corners of the planet and hid themselves. To this day they are fearful of Jacob, and his seed stand run from them. But the beasts of the field fed the beasts of the flesh, and these killers became strong and increased in numbers. They gave birth to many and threatened to overrun the planet and even overpower man himself. Again, the balance in nature was threatened, where these beasts were killing off the gentle species without plan or reason. So Jacob grafted into these beasts the illusion of hate, and the beasts of the flesh even ate one another and sought to destroy and fight with each other. Even among their own clan and species, and they learned to kill from their madness, and took joy in the flavor of blood. They killed without reason and without hunger, and became treacherous as their grafter. And again, mutations became evident, and these were of such types as the weasel and the wildcat, and the wolf and the brew. And all those who killed just for the joy of destruction and the frenzy of their madness, and these moral deformities yielded. Physically deformities, the mentally ill became the physically ill, and error became manifest, and the disease spread like fire amongst the beasts. Behold that the beast of the flesh ate of the beast of the field, who were ill, for they ate the plants which were ill, for as truth has no consciousness of error. Gentle beasts did not have consciousness of that which was poisonous or rotten. And disease spread, and death became manifest, and slew many of the beasts of the flesh, and the beasts of the flesh leaned of Jacob's treachery and betrayal. And they rebelled and fled into the woods. But to this day they lurk in the brush seeking to find revenge upon Jacob or his seeds, and they strike them at every opportunity. Chapter 9. Then Jacob, seeing his error in my calculations, sought to destroy these insects which infected man and beast with the poisons of death. But
Miscalculation.
most of the insects could fly, so he had to dive, open a flying creature which could catch and destroy them. Jacob grafted several insects with the rat, and this graft appeared to have qualities of both insect and beast. And it was called the bat, but the bat was blind and hunted only at night, so aging Jacob experimented with the insects and various beasts. And these mutations had feathers covering their bodies as the insects had fuzz. Their feet were pronged and thin, as the insects. They possessed no teeth, but pincer-like beaks, as the insects. They laid eggs, as the insects. They grew wings, as the insects. They possessed the intelligence and instincts of the insects, but their blood was warm, and they breathed by lungs, as the beast. And this strange creature had habits so foul that it was called foul. It possessed no morals or sense as most other living things. Indeed, it was an illusion, born in the warped mind of the mad scientist, Jacob, and they were of such types as the chicken and the robin, the sparrow and the pigeon, the heron and the duck. Now the fowls, being able to fly, spread to the far corners of the world and multiplied. Their offspring were numerous and threatened to befoul all of creation, so Jacob was forced to graft from them a larger and more powerful fowl, and the purpose of this fowl was to feed on the other fowls and their offspring. God will complete the great understanding at a later date. Peace.
That's been the Great Understanding by Rasheed Allah. I advise y'all watch it over and over and over and over again. That was a very great build. Gave a great understanding of life and existence and man and the universe and Allah, which is basically all synonymous. So they broke down a lot of universal laws, a lot of universal principles, natural laws, natural principles that apply to man, woman, and child, that sun, moon, and star. We are the forever people. You know what I mean? But yeah, go back and watch it again, man. That was a great build, y'all. Appreciate y'all attention, y'all. Peace.